start making everything mean something, we human beings are such meaning-making machines. We are forever looking for the meaning in the things that happen to us. We spend much more energy than we really should deconstructing events and looking for the meaning, and on occasion I suppose this can be a helpful thing to do, and it's true. Well, I really think that we overdo it. I think that probably for the most part, considering all the work that I do is about going into people's pasts and looking for the meaning that they extracted from a situation or an event, and then looking for the reasons why that meaning, well, when the meaning is unhelpful or limits you in some way, then what we do is we look for all the reasons that you weren't aware of that show that the meaning you extracted from that event or situation was in fact not the case, or it was only a part of the case. You know, like, so often the information that's available to us is like a tiny fraction of what's actually going on, because everybody else has got their own lives going on with their own stories and their own meaning that they're extracting from the world. And honestly, we could do a lot better than to just, I'm not talking about nihilism, saying like nothing means anything, because I think that's the other extreme. But really, given the experience that I have had in my practice of hypnotherapy and going to the root cause, and finding that almost all the time we add a certain meaning, or which becomes a belief over the years. The meaning, like, oh, well, this thing happened, and that must mean that that person didn't love me, and if that person didn't love me, then that must mean I'm not lovable, and if I'm not lovable, then that must mean that I don't deserve attention, and if I don't deserve attention, do you see how this continues? And it becomes utterly neurotic. And when we've got all these beliefs in our subconscious mind, because that's where they tend to live, because they go into our body, and it becomes like a habit and a body memory that's an automatic response, and we're not even aware of it. Yeah, it just is so unhelpful. So what I would invite is to have a bit more of a circumspect in situations. Think about what was going on for the other people, you know, and particularly like painful events from childhood, which is, you know, what I guide people through all the time. You know, look for the ways in which it didn't mean that, and whatever the unhelpful meaning was that you took from it, and actually maybe it meant that something else. And this has really been on my mind this week, because last Monday I had a car accident which I have never ever had before, and I was driving on one of our Welsh country lanes, very slowly in fact, and there was a blind corner, and I know the corner very well because it's on the school run and I go down this road every day. And I came around the corner slowly, going uphill, and then whack! Just suddenly this this county council recycling truck, which is a big heavy lorry, it was just coming too fast down this lane. I couldn't see it, it couldn't see me, and it collided with the front of our very nice electric car, which is quite a new car, and it's crumpled up the bonnet, and the headlight isn't working, and it's caused, I mean, I took it for a quote, and the garage have said that it will be £5,500 to fix. And so now I've been, dealing with the insurance companies and all of this. So, as well as it being the last 2 weeks of the children's summer term, which is always utter chaos with all sorts of events going on, and I have become completely overwhelmed with all of that going on, as well as now having to phone the insurance company and just try and get people to accept liability and all the rest, which is a very difficult thing, it turns out, and you probably know if you've done that before. I'd never had that experience, so I didn't know. And I'm aware of my mind kind of wanting to look for some kind of meaning about this incident having happened. What does it mean that I collided with a recycling lorry? What does it mean? And here's what I want to say. I wasn't at fault. As far as I can tell, it maybe means that I could have been going a bit more slowly, but I was going quite slowly. I don't think I could have been going more than 10 miles an hour. So I don't feel bad. I wasn't distracted. My eyes were on the road. And the driver of the other vehicle, I mean, yes, he was going too fast, in my opinion. But he was really, it doesn't mean anything about him. He was a very nice man. He was in his, say 60s. He'd never had an accident either before. He was very shaken. There were two of them, and they were very concerned for my well-being. And I found I couldn't really be angry with him. I was annoyed at the situation, but there was just no meaning there is no meaning I can extract from this. I'm aware that I move in certain circles, and particularly in the mindset coaching world, where there's this pseudo spirituality stuff going on. Well, maybe it's not pseudo, I don't know, it feels like that to me. But there's this tendency for people to make everything mean something, and I think it's really, really unhelpful. I think sometimes, it's our karma playing out, and sometimes, we attract certain situations into our lives repeatedly until we deal with it, until we manage it. But in this instance, was it my karma to hit a recycling truck? I really don't think so. I really think that this was just an unfortunate thing that's happened. And seeing as there's no meaning that's helpful for me here, I'm just going to, sometimes there's meaning that you can look at a situation that happened and you could say, how can I avoid this happening again? Which would be a really helpful way of looking at it. Or what have I got to learn from this thing happening? And I am a very good driver, and I'm not gonna make it mean that I'm not. I'm a very safe driver. I'm very aware. Look, I'm saying this and there's somebody about to pull out in front of me. Hilarious. And yeah, I'm making a video as I'm driving now, and I don't feel that is putting me in jeopardy at all, because I just feel safe. I feel like I'm doing a good job. And so I'm not going to make it mean anything about me as a driver. It's just unfortunate. It's just so unfortunate that I happened to be in that place at that time. And yes, I actually, on that morning, I'd set off half an hour late because we'd forgotten to charge the car the night before, so the battery was empty, so we had to wait an extra half hour. Well, I could start looking at that and saying, well, it means I'm an idiot for not charging the car. It means I'm irresponsible. It means I'm well, you know, there's just no end to the like negative things I could attach to this. But I'm just not. I can see my mind starting to go down those paths, and I can also see that it's not true. And actually, in this instance, it just doesn't mean anything. It's just unfortunate. So that's what I would like to offer you. You know, where in your life are you trying to make something mean something, when actually it was quite possibly that you were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. You crossed paths with somebody who was maybe not fully aware of what they were doing. Maybe they were, you know, distracted. Maybe they were not thinking properly, and you just kind of got caught in the crossfire, as it were. And maybe we just need to draw a line under that and let it go. And but I do think it can be helpful looking back at events that have happened in our lives and saying, well, what can I learn from this? And how can this help me, this event? And this video is, and these reflections is actually the result of how this incident has helped me. It's helped me to see how the mind has this tendency to put meaning on everything, and how that is not a helpful thing to do. Because what would happen if I start attaching all this negative meaning about what it means about me as a person? If I start attaching all that meaning, I'll start closing up. I'll start shying away from the world. And I can kind of see that that's happening a little bit, but not because I'm being unkind to myself. I'm not, but actually because there's trauma in my body from the accident. And there's just so much going on. It's the end of term, like I said, and we've got like something happening in the school every day, something to remember, something to do, conversations to be had, plans to be made. You know, there's just, it's mad. And if I remember this from previous years too, it's just always chaotic at the end of term. And I can feel I've got like stress in my body. I've got tension in my chest. My face and jaw are tight. My shoulders are tight. And instead of going to the sauna like I wanted to last night, I ended up going to the supermarket to buy presents for certain people, staff at the school, which I wanted to do, and it needed to happen. And so I didn't get that bit of me time, as it were, to relax. But what I am doing, because this is so important to me, and because I don't like how I become when I'm overwhelmed and I'm in a state of overwhelm, I become more reactive and less responsive. So when the children are asking me question after question after question and interrupting me, and you know, this is how they are, they're children, and I feel myself tightening and I feel myself snapping, and then hopefully I don't snap, and hopefully I'm able to avert that situation. But sometimes I do, because I'm human, and then I'm able, hopefully most of the time, I'm able to say, hey, I just snapped there, I'm really sorry I did that, but it's because I'm feeling a lot of tension, and I haven't been looking after myself how I should have been. And it doesn't mean anything about you, because human beings are meaning making machines, right? And if we don't do that, if we don't give that caveat, the children will take on meaning from what is happening. Like, mummy snapping at me, that must mean I'm wrong. That must mean it's not okay for me to be how I am. It's not safe for me to be me. You know, oh my goodness. And I know this because I've guided so many people back to their own childhoods, and I've seen how they attached meaning to situations where probably the parents were just stressed or overwhelmed. So I'm really unwilling to perpetuate this cycle in my own parenting. So I've made an informal promise with myself that when any time I behave unfavorably, I parent reactively, I shout, I snap, that I will speak about that, and I'll tell them why I did that, with the hope that they can understand the bigger picture rather than just their own experience, you know, because, well, actually between 0 and 7, that's what children do. They are just focused on themselves, and that's healthy. That's like a healthy ego development, and it needs to happen, and so there's nothing wrong with that. But it's also helpful for them to be told, this isn't your fault, this is nothing to do with you. Actually, I'm not cross with you, I'm cross with someone else, and it's coming out on you. You know, because or I'm cross with another situation, or I'm feeling stress in my body and I need to dance, and I haven't danced, and that is causing me to be less more shouty or less patient with you. So I'm on my way now to go to an ecstatic dance class, and I'm gonna move it all through and let go of all the trauma in my body, because that's what we need to do. We hold it in our body until we move it. And I've learned this. I think this is fairly new, that humanity is learning how trauma is kept in the body and what needs to happen to release it. So I'm going to go and release. And my parting words for you are just, please look at how you are making meaning when maybe there is no meaning at all, or the meaning is just much, much less than what you're making it mean. That's all for today, and I love you, and until next time, enjoy.